Hello, guys. Today I am joined by Rahul, none other than Mr. Red Ninja. How you doing, my guy?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. It's a Sunday morning. It's a new day, New Year's Day, New Year's Eve, actually, I should say. Um, but I was contacted by Rahul, um, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to jump on my podcast?" So I said, "Why not, man? Why not?" So I'm very happy to be on your channel and. Uh, yeah, Rahul, um, can you give us a introduction about yourself?
So, my name's Rahul. I was born on February 11th, 2004 in Nashville, Tennessee. I am from a family of five. I have lived in around the Nashville, Tennessee area, the Boston, Massachusetts area. I've lived in the Dallas area, in Texas, more specifically in McKinney. Um, I'm now living in Tampa, Florida right now. I am an Indian American, and I love this influencer boxing space because it really just shows that we have some of the biggest, best stars from like KSI to Jake Paul to Logan Paul to Deji, even Joe Weller, and now we're getting all these new batch of stars. It really just shows that damn how much progress we made from one sparring session when Joe Weller and Theo Baker to like KSI, Mams Taylor, Misfits Boxing making big cards that really show like, yeah, we have an interest. We can do this. So,
Yeah, yeah. How long have you been a fan of influencer boxing or YouTube boxing as it was back then?
well, I was familiar at least. Well, let me bring context. I was familiar with the Paul brothers like for a long time when they started out. Let me
Oh
tell you,
no, Jake Paul, Rahul? Jake Paul? Come on, we're Team KSI, right?
well, yeah, well, I wasn't familiar with KSI until like the YouTube when YouTube boxing started.
Okay.
So when I saw the Paul brothers, I was like, are they idiots? Are they acting idiots? They're making videos that are very idiotic. Now, for granted, they're not doing it anymore, and they've gone on to do like business ventures. And what I've seen from KSI is really good. When KSI fought Logan Paul, I was really like, wow, that should not have been a draw. Looking back,
KSI won, right?
I think, well, I think so. I haven't seen the fight in a while.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
and when they fought the second time, I was like, wow, KSI from the UK defeating Logan Paul on Logan's area, Logan's home country, the US. That just catapulted KSI in a completely new realm of celebrity status that I think anyone could agree with. And right after that, KSI did music during the COVID time. Jake like started doing boxing fights that I didn't. I to be fair, I understood he wanted to be active, he wanted to gain experience, but right when KSI came back and this past year, he and this year he wanted to be known that, oh, I want to fight Jake. No matter what it takes, I am gonna fight Jake. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think JJ coming back into influencer boxing has been a positive, because Jake, although he started off as an influencer boxer, he had that fight with Deji. He transitioned into fighting low level MMA bums who can't box. I mean, that's just a fact. MMA does not translate into boxing. Okay, I don't care how many times you mention Ngannou, but you had Jake, who transitioned from influencer boxing to MMA. So having JJ back and the introduction of Misfits as a whole has been positive for the scene,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I think as fans, we take it for granted the importance of Mams Taylor. Okay, this is a music manager, right? On paper, he has no business being in the boxing world, but he's come in, right? He's had 8 events in 2023, smashed it, 1.3 million pay-per-views, right?
mm-hmm,
These are facts. These are facts, right? This is factual information. 1.3 million pay-per-views. You look at the Prime card. Um, you look at the Zone live viewing figures. Again, Misfits is the top, right? It's one of the top for non-pay-per-view events. So I think as a whole, like JJ has been a positive, right? He's been a positive for influencer boxing. Now, there is, I guess, talk that, whether he will retire or not. Um, but I don't think influencer boxing will die. I know Keem seems to think so. I disagree, man. I disagree. I think one thing we haven't seen is JJ in that promoter role. Just like how Jake promotes the non-pay-per-view events for MVP, his promotion, right? I think if JJ retires, I don't think that's the end, man. I think stars are made, opportunities are given. Salt Pappy, right? Before
yeah,
he made his influencer boxing debut on Showstar. I mean, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but not many knew of him, right? He then fights on Misfits. You saw that knockout versus Andy Warski. Then he takes on Josh
Josh
Bruckner.
Bruck, and that knockout was so clean. That
Yeah,
knockout was so clean. But then he went on a losing streak against Anthony Taylor on Misfits 7, and then he lost by knockout against
to
Slim.
Slim.
Oh, yeah, Slim. Now, to be fair for Salt, I think he can rebound. I think he can rebound. It just would have to be the right guy, the right influencer to be like, you know what? I'm gonna fight Salt no matter what it takes. I'm gonna fight him. Now, the thing is that we need fighters to understand that you can't just fight a fighter based on skill. That it's okay, but at the end of the day, should that be the focus? It has to be 50-50, like entertainment aspect and the skill aspect. If I like fought a guy purely for entertainment, it's gonna look sloppy. If I fight a guy that's like mostly on skill, it might look cool, but would there be a storyline involved?
Yeah, I would say influencer boxing should be more about entertainment rather than skill. I'd say 80% entertainment, 20% skill, right? I know
Mm,
we've got the Keemstars of this world, the Wades of this world. You look at two separate sides, right? You got Keemstar, he wants entertainment. You know, he made headlines with the Misfits '07 getting Boogie and Wings on that prelims, right? And then you got Wade, who advocates for the technical aspect of the sport. So I don't think it's bad combining them two. But at the end of the day, Rahul, this just isn't traditional boxing. At the end of the
right.
day, these influencers have to sell tickets. They have to put bums on seats, right? And you know, Salt Pappy, he's 3-2, right? I don't think his star power is gonna go down. He's gonna come back. He's gonna be 4-2. At the end of the day, we watch Salt Pappy because he's entertaining, right? He's that shy, quiet, humble, good guy, but he does his talking in the ring. He does the hand. the hand thing. I don't know what it's called. Someone let me know in the comments, but I don't think records really matter in influencer boxing, you know? I just don't, so I would agree with you. I definitely think entertainment is much more important than skill because
Well,
at the end of the day, um, you know, these influencers should be looking to leave a legacy behind, right? Be remembered
right.
for being that star. Okay. You know, I know Wade advocates for skills and tag team boxing is bad. We shouldn't take it serious. Like, no, bro. It's Mams is more of a storyline guy. If you guys know
Mm,
Mams, if you guys been listening to Mams over the last year, you know he's more about the storylines, and that's what would build influencer boxing.
mm. Yeah. I think that my only counter would be is that what if like a Slim or a Dean or a Salt were to go in the Jake route and become like into traditional boxing, like they want to become a world champ. What would you say to those people?
I would say, I would say Slim. I would say Dean definitely has a future in traditional boxing. You know, Salt Pappy, another one, right? I definitely think maybe not win a world title, but I think he's got a future, man. I think Slim as well, right?
Mm,
Slim, I think those three, um, they've definitely got a future in, more of like the traditional boxing route that Jake Paul has gone on. Um, for me, I think they are waiting for the right time because right now there is money in influencer boxing. Why fight on in a show, get paid 10K on a traditional boxing card, when you can fight on Misfits and get 100K, right?
yeah.
So I think some of these guys they're waiting for the right moment. Um,
Mm,
but honestly, I don't think that moment is gonna come anytime soon. Rahul, I don't see influencer boxing dying at all, man. I just
yeah.
don't.
Yeah. I don't see it dying. It it has waves, like it goes up and
Yeah,
down. We saw that with the Paul brothers and the Olatunjis when they started.
yeah,
And then we saw that with the YouTubers and TikTokers. And then now bear in mind it was promoted by Austin McBroom. It was
yeah,
promoted by Austin McBroom, and we saw how many lawsuits it got.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think I must say social gloves as an idea, and I've advocated for this to be brought into Misfits. The idea of getting two platforms, right? At the time in 2021, TikTok was big, man. I think throughout lockdown, it was like the biggest platform, right?
yeah,
You had TikTokers versus YouTubers, coming together, fighting it out in the ring. I think that as an idea, perfect. I think the event itself was up there, man. I think it was up there with the Prime card. I think it was up there with Misfits One. You know, I think the idea was good, man. But you look at these payouts that Austin had promised some of these fighters. I mean, Jarvis, he promised him 1 million. Bryce Hall was promised 5 million. Taylor Holder, I think he was promised 2 million. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. It was a
I
joke,
just,
right?
I just, I have no hatred against Austin McBroom. I don't know him personally. It's just when you promote an event and you promise, like, I think it was on Impulsive that Logan Paul, Mike, and George were talking about it, that it was like they were gonna do 2 million buys. Austin said like he was gonna do 2 million buys. And then when he said the price range, it was like, oh oh my God. Like
Yeah. I,
because because for starting an event, right? you have to lower the price, and then if it starts success, if go upward, then you can increase the price. If you just increase the price in the first event, everyone knows it's going to be garbage. Now, there may be some exceptions, like how Showstar, like how they did to King Kenny versus Face Temper, and then the Kingpin, and then the Kingpin events for the first one, the second one, those were garbage, in my opinion. I don't know if you would agree. Um,
I'm with you.
it's just you can't, as a fan of traditional or influencer, you can't be like, oh, this event is gonna do good, and then we just see the pay-per-view buys, and then we're like, well, fuck you. Um,
Yeah,
sorry for my
yeah.
language.
I think Austin and his team were, I mean, 2 million pay-per-views. That would have projected what, 100 million in sales, which, I mean, as much as you had the likes of Bryce Hall, who is a big name, and Taylor Holder and Deji and Gibb, there's no way it was going to do 2 million. I think they looked at the KSI Logan 2 event, that Matchroom done. It was under Matchroom with the zone. That done 2 million, right? Because you had two superstars, but respectfully, the likes of Deji, Austin McBroom, Bryce Hall, they're just not there yet, right? And the price point of KSI versus Logan Paul 2 was $20, right? If I'm not mistaken. So, in the end, in the end, they ended up doing 130,000. Um, yeah, what a flop, man. What a flop. And I don't think Mams gets enough credit for how well run Misfits is, because Misfits hasn't gone bankrupt. You look at Kingpin, you look at Creator Clash, who lost a lot of money. There's a reason why M Misfits are still doing 8, 9 events a year. And
Wait, I gotta wait. What if there was a Misfits versus Kingpin event?
but then again, you had some of the fighters on the Kingpin events, which Misfits had loaned out to Kingpin.
Oh,
So
well,
unless Kingpin recruit or sign other fighters that haven't been on Misfits, I guess that could work. But I guess I would like to see UK versus USA. Imagine
hmm,
that. Imagine we get Deji versus Alex Wasabi rematch. We get Tempa versus Kenny rematch. And I think that would be big, man.
yeah, yeah. I I would want to see certain events around the world be done with Misfits or any boxing promotion in the influencer scene. And one thing to note is, have you heard of ICB, the influencer championship belts?
Yeah, yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Okay, now
By the way, they put Jake Paul first. So ICB, go and fuck yourselves. Sorry, I just had to put that in. Okay. I'm not cool with them, no.
yeah. So they stop associating with Misfits at the start of Misfits 004, correct?
Mm, yeah, yeah, I would say around that
Their
time.
reasoning, which I do not understand, even though, by the way, I'm gonna say this, I'm part of the Discord server. Um, I do not understand why they can't affiliate with a promotion that does their own titles.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't mind ICB. Here's the thing. ICB is trying to give out belts to certain names that, could grow the sport. Same thing for Misfits. But the problem is I think with ICB is that they're not locked on with certain promotions that could guarantee them with with big stars. Like the only thing they had was Misfits, and also I think Influencer Fight League. But
yeah,
right after their dissociation with Misfits at the start of Misfits 4, they only had the influencer fight league, so they had to go and get try to work with other promotions. I saw a fight card where ICB associated with a promotion in Ireland, and I was like, okay, influencer, we could grow influencer boxing in Ireland. I'm totally okay with that. But do you really? You need to promote it more and more. That's why you maybe like yeah. Um,
I don't know, man. I think ICB, their rankings are just an embarrassment, to be honest with you.
and also
Jake,
they're weird because I'm gonna use a college sports example. Like for college sports, for certain teams, you have to rank them based on certain criteria for them for a championship. I'm okay with that. Now, certain criteria, certain requirements just don't make sense. Now, if you're going to put KSI over Jake Paul, that's okay because KSI has been a lot active. Jake, same thing. However, if you were to put one over the other, it's just going to cause certain people to get pissed off. And I think the ICB needs to look at their rankings and make sure that with the fans, like you and me, that it's respectable instead of having like arbitrary rankings that everyone gets pissed off at and nobody likes them.
I think there needs to be more clarity on how they rank these fighters because looking at their rankings, I don't understand. You know, I mean, I haven't checked their rankings in a long time because to be honest with you, Rahul, I just don't follow what they do. Um, but there was some rankings where it didn't make sense to me. They would have one guy with a losing record above someone else, whilst having less star power, it just didn't make sense. So I think there needs to be more clarity on how they rank these fighters. Otherwise, it seems biased.
Yeah, and another thing is for the ICB is that they should allow ICB belts be defended on Misfits events. Let that happen, including the Influencer Fight League. Let those belts be defended. And I think these from the smaller promotions we can help them get into Misfits or in the traditional boxing scene. It just depends on what their journey is. My
Yeah,
thinking is that we need to unlock certain countries that have been locked, and once we unlock it, there's no going back.
yeah, yeah, I would agree. Guys, this is the end of the podcast. Rahul, thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Hmm.
Guys, please show Rahul some support. He's been very kind to me, and yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
So,
Also, also one thing, if you wanna if you guys have any ideas for Misfits, let us know and I will collect it and see if it works. So yeah.
how about this, Rahul? How about we have a second episode because I enjoy talking to you, man. I think this episode has been great.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
gonna have,
Yeah.
there you go, guys. Second episode confirmed. Rahul and the fan. We're gonna be back next week, sometime next week. Just leave your suggestions down below, and yeah, man, we'll review some of your ideas for Misfits. I know Rahul has got a lot of his own ideas, which we will talk about off the video. Um, yeah.
Um eh,
Anyways, that's it, guys. Uh, take care.